Well, slate, and by the term slate, we mean a flat stone which can go in a roof, has been used for a long time, since really the 1400s. It was used in abundance, I suppose, from the late 1600s and then more so through the 1700s. It was the ideal roofing material in the sense that it was very durable, permanent, and of course fireproof, because most of the boroughs started to pass laws, bylaws, in the mid-1700s, requesting buildings be fireproof. So it was at that point that slate really came into its own. If you have a large slate, then you can get away with a roof at a lot lower pitch. If you have a small slate, which most Scots slates are, then you really need an increased roof pitch to allow the water to run off the roof quicker. And what that means is that you've got more space in the roof. So we tend to live in our roof spaces in Scotland. That's why we have so many dormers. So the size of the slate has impacted really quite considerably on our architecture. When slate was quarried, taken out of the ground, the Scots quarries really didn't mechanise to any great extent. So it was still very much an operation driven by hand and muscle. They were paid really on piece rates that paid to a large extent on what they produced. So, for a variety of reasons, they would try and use as much of the rock as possible. In order to do that, they would produce really quite a vast range of sizes. And they didn't just vary in length, they varied in width and they varied in thickness. When the slater ordered his slates from the quarry, he would then get quite a range of material, and his job was to sort them before putting them on the roof. It's almost like, I think, putting a jigsaw puzzle together to put onto the roof of the building. And I think that it's really should be regarded more as a craft than a trade. The Scottish roofs were single-nailed. Traditionally, the slate would be shouldered. Just the top edges would be taken off so that they were a bit rounded. And the combination of one nail and this shouldering meant that the slates could be easily swung. And by swinging the slates, you're exposing the nail that's holding the slate below in place. So if a slate comes loose, then you can actually just swing slates aside and re-nail that slate very easily. My best guess is that there must have been about 80 quarries in Scotland at one time. But at the moment, there is no quarry, there is no slate produced in Scotland. And I have to say, we're actually quite a long way away from getting to the situation where we can actually start producing slate here. Something that has to happen. It's ludicrous that we don't have a native material anymore. The best known of our Scottish quarries, the Ballachulish quarry, in my opinion, produced a slate which is absolutely second to none. It sounds beautiful if you tap it, it sounds metallic. And it's in the advertisements for selling this slate, they said quite clearly it could be used time and time again on roofs. And I think on some of the roofs, probably here in Edinburgh, we've got slates that were quarried 200 years ago that are still doing their job perfectly well. In slating, you're producing a roof covering which is hugely durable. It will last for literally hundreds of years. And quite simply, it looks beautiful.